How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Grave Robbers. This is from 1989. It is a Mexican horror movie and was directed by Ruben Galindo Jr. and stars Fernando Almada, Edna, Bolkan, and Erika Bueneil. Sorry if I mispronounced any of those names. Now, I found this one quite by chance. I really do love looking through a used movie store and just kind of browsing, especially when they're titles that look good that you've never heard of. And I found this, a double pack, 2 movies by the same director that really looked like they had a good kind of gothic horror vibe, but were also kind of cheesy 80s movies. I do a bit of hidden gem hunting in regards to horror movies, and when I found this, I struck gold. This is the kind of movie that you really hope to find when you look for a cheesy 80s horror movie. It is big and bloody and over the top. It is just absolutely brilliant. The best way to describe this is it's like if you were trying to make a slasher in the world of the Evil Dead. You get this guy that accidentally gets resurrected, and he's this big zombie skeleton looking dude, and he plows through people. It's like Part 7 Jason meets the Terminator. There is a ton of people in this movie, and most of them don't make it. A hand gets cut off, a head gets cut off, blood, craziness, insanity. Apropos of nothing, the killer, who's kind of magical, can reach through the wall like Freddy Krueger in Nightmare on Elm Street. There's this stone wall that his hand just comes out of. He can also cause a knife to fly through the air if he needs it. Oh, and then later in the movie, we see the sheriff walking into frame with a box of dynamite like we're about to go into a Looney Tunes cartoon. It is absolutely good, gory cheese. And I totally love this movie. When it gets going, it doesn't stop and is good, just high, intense action for the majority of the runtime. It is really cool. It does get a little random sometimes, but it doesn't go off the rails like some random movies can do. He'll have magic powers that do come out of nowhere, but it doesn't derail the plot, and in fact, when you find out what he wants, and then what the heroes need to do, it's actually relatively straightforward. The only problem will be keeping anyone alive to see the ending. It's just a really fun, cheesy, over-the-top movie, and if you like things like Return of the Living Dead, or Evil Dead, or just anything in that vein that's super cheesy, there's some movies that you look at them and you wonder why more people don't talk about it, and I think it was probably just that it was a foreign film that never got a dub back in the day, so it never made it over here, and that is pretty sad because I think if more people saw this, this would definitely have a cult following. If you get your hands on this, I definitely pick it up. I picked this one at random. I'm really excited to watch the other one on this multi-pack. They're both by the same director, both in the 80s. Fingers crossed they're both good. Anyway, without further ado, let's talk a bit about the plot. I'm not going to be doing any major spoilers, but I want to say my piece on a few plot points and do a bit of analysis and break this down further, but I don't need to spoil the ending to do that, so let's talk a bit about the plot. We open up with a prologue. This girl gets kidnapped, she's chained down to a pentagram, and things aren't looking too good for her. However, in a sudden twist of fate, the evil guy in a cloak gets captured by other people in a cloak, but while the evil guy was a Satanist, these people are all monks and they're here to save the day, and they'll kill him with a big axe wound to the chest. We'll find out more on that later. We then cut to the present, and we meet a wide array of characters. Let's start off with the cops. There's 3 cops, and you know they're cops because they all have their cop mustaches, which I think is funny. There's 3 of them, they all have their mustache. But you get the main cop, the chief, and then you get like his deputy, and he's wearing the red vest. And then you get the third one, which we meet him when he fixes the chief's machine gun, and they test it out in his backyard, firing off a machine gun in the suburbs, and no one cares. This was the 80s. But anyway, the third cop has a white tank top and huge muscles, and of course is dating the chief's daughter. The chief's daughter and like 3 of her friends are going to go into the woods to camp and party. But little do they know, also in these woods is a cemetery, and that's where we get the titular grave robbers. A group of like 6 of them, 3 guys and 3 girls, and 4 of them will set about their business. I really do like the costuming in this movie. Kind of oversaturated colors and just really good, simple, bright costumes, but one of them is literally wearing Ash Williams' blue shirt, and this other one has a denim vest and a bright yellow headband, and he looks like he should be in an 80s video game. But anyway, one of the girls is a psychic and says, "We need to dig up this grave." But there's nothing in there. She doesn't understand, and when she goes into the grave to investigate, the floor falls out from under her, she goes down a tunnel, and smack, winds up in a crypt. That's cool. Finding a secret entrance to a crypt, exploring somewhere where people haven't been in a long time, it's all gothic and covered in dust and cobwebs. You know, they say for fantasy, they talk about the sword and sorcery subgenre. I really think for horror, people need to talk about the cobwebs and catacombs subgenre. Super good and gothic. They go around and none of them have any problems. There's some dusty, dried up, dead body, and they're like, "Sweet, gold!" And they're grabbing all this gold and stuff when they find the one corpse they shouldn't mess with. The guy with the axe still in his chest, and there's a special gold necklace wrapped around the handle. Taking that out is going to be like removing a vampire steak, but they don't know that. They take the sweet axe, they get out of there with all their gold, and then their car gets stuck in the mud because of a freak thunderstorm. Thunderstorms and lightning, just adding in all the perfect tropes. Some peasants show up, and that's the subtitles word, not mine. They don't say villagers, they just call them peasants. And they're not peasants, they're red shirts, because that guy comes, gets his axe, and just plows right through all of them. And of course the sheriff will eventually show up and realize that his daughter is in the nearby woods as well. And this is what I want to say. 6 grave robbers, 4 party girls, 3 cops, 3 peasants, and a priest. What is that, like 17 people? And mild spoiler, most of them will die. Most of them will die. And it is just absolutely brutal. You can't stop this guy. He's plowing through people. And you think, okay, that's a cool character. He'll probably... No, he won't live. He's dead. His head just flew right off there. It's a ton of just, you can't stop this guy. He's coming at you. Brutal, brutal death. And the only way you have any hope of surviving this movie is just because there are so many people. And yeah, tons and tons of crazy, over-the-top, gory 80s kills. It's really cool. I do also like, because we do have that priest, there is a bit of a supernatural element. The cop goes and investigates the catacombs and finds what is basically the Necronomicon and gives it to the priest and says, "Find out how to stop this guy, will you?" And yeah, it is kind of, I mean, it's definitely a slasher, but it does have this magical element. He's essentially a zombie, very Part 7 Jason. And yeah, you gotta figure out what is the way to stop this. And it does lead to a finale that I think is very good. All the pieces line up and we see why everything was there. And it really does crank the whole thing up to an 11. And this is just, yeah, like I said, this is the fun, cheesy horror movie you hope to get when you dive into some movie you never heard of. And it's so fun, and I absolutely love this movie. I can't wait to watch the other one, and I think this director made one more. I'll have to track that down. But it's super cool, and I can definitely recommend it for anyone that likes cheesy movies of this nature. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. If you want to see me talk about movies similar to this, you can click right there and see more. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.